Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today's episode is habits. On my journey to recover from burnout, that was one of the things I became quite interested in. I guess I became quite an expert in habits. I read all the books, Atomic Habits and Mini Habits and Tiny Habits, and I don't know. There's so many books with the word habits in. If you search that on Amazon, I'd love to know what comes up for you and what you notice. And also, it's always interesting to hear from people which books about habits they've found interesting or helpful. So that was a big part, I think, because my focus of attention on what was wrong with me was around motivation, not getting enough done, procrastinating, that kind of thing. So I was very into establishing habits so that I could be better in the world. That was kind of the premise, I think. So I did a lot of that work, and I think through sheer determination, and this is something else, something mindedness, I established quite a lot of quite good habits, I suppose, and I guess over time also managed to change some of my habits that were not so helpful. Some of them are still around though, interestingly. I'm going to share with you because I love you all so much, but I do pick the skin around my thumbs, around my thumbnails. Not as much as I used to, but it still happens. But I don't have as much on it now. I think that's probably worth saying. I'm just not as bothered. I don't think it's something wrong with me. And I see that it will fade or it won't. And that will be fine either way. So there's something there, as I've said that, about not having quite so much on it. I just feel a moment of relief myself there. Because there's a weight, isn't there, that comes with anything that we think is wrong with us. So if you're looking at some of the habits you want to drop or change or do less of, that you perhaps think are not good for you, not healthy in some way, or they're getting in the way of you being how you want to be in the world, then perhaps the first thing to know is that having a lot of weight on that isn't probably going to help. I think that there's a big chunk of the self-development world that tells us that you kind of need to be in a place of disliking something about yourself in order to punch through and make the change. And I just don't see it like that, really, now. I don't think that weight helps us. So if we're doing something in the world and it's been around quite a long time, or we're seeing it now as a habit, something that we do regularly, if the addition, already there's something there that we're unhappy about, but perhaps the unhappiness isn't helping. Perhaps there's a lot of weight there in terms of thought. In fact, I don't know why I'm saying perhaps. There is. If we're doing something that's unhealthy for us, or, not putting ourselves as well as we want to out in the world, and then on top of that, we've got this terrible feeling, which comes with a lot of course, is created by all this thinking about us just not being okay in the world if we don't get rid of this particular habit. And I don't think that's particularly helpful. I think what that does in a way is it increases the focus on that thing we don't want. And where your attention goes, energy flows, and awareness and attention is what gives those thoughts more energy. And then I would have said that you probably are more likely to do the thing you'd like to stop doing. That's something maybe that's helpful to start with. But perhaps just sharing a little story here about one of my habits that fell away really, really easily was my chocolate thought. I'm sure I'm not the only person who has a chocolate thought. I'd love to hear from you if you've got a chocolate thought, because I definitely know I'm not the only one. My chocolate thought was really quite a restrained little chocolate habit, actually, thought. A restrained little habit thought, because it really only materialised on a Saturday evening, almost as my bottom hit the sofa and we picked up the remote to watch a movie. The chocolate thought would appear. It's like a little switch got flicked inside my head, and the thought, oh, now we're sitting watching a movie on a Saturday night, then must be time to eat chocolate. And the chocolate thought would come. And I had a lot of thinking about the chocolate thought. It's not good for you. There'll be almost like I don't know if you're a Tom and Jerry fan from old. I used to watch a lot of Tom and Jerry when I was a kid. But you remember that at some points there's a little devil on one shoulder and a little angel on the other shoulder. I can't remember if it's Tom or Jerry who has the devil and the angel. But anyway, somebody will tell me, I'm sure. That, so they're chatting to each other, arguing. And that's what I had going on in my head. So I had the voice of Slimming World and the voice of Claire just wants to eat the chocolate. But there was this argument, like I would weigh up how much exercise. You've done quite a lot of, this is a voice in my head. You've done quite a lot of exercise today, Claire, so you can have the chocolate. Or, you're going for a 10-mile walk tomorrow, so you can have the chocolate. But sugar doesn't really agree with you, and you're going to wake up feeling really rubbish in the morning. That is true, actually. So perhaps don't have the chocolate. So that would go on for quite a while. And the focus, of course, all the time is on the chocolate thoughts. The chocolate thought is just getting more and more energy and therefore getting bigger and bigger. And in the end, it was pretty much guaranteed that because of all that thinking, I didn't have the willpower to stop myself eating the chocolate. I'd go in the kitchen and eat the chocolate. Oh, sorry. I didn't eat in the kitchen. I didn't do that. I brought it back on, sat on the sofa, watched a movie, eat the chocolate. And I tried it, I tried sitting on my hands and all sorts of things, but there was just this continual dialogue of me trying to negotiate my way around the chocolate thought, which just gave it loads more energy. And then the inevitable happened. And I'm sure that as you're listening to this, you can relate to places where you have done that yourself, where you have argued the toss with your inner voice, or had two inner voices, it seems, going on and on and on in an attempt to stop yourself doing something that you don't want to do. And then, of course, there was the guilt afterwards, but I'll maybe talk about guilt in another session. So what happened when the chocolate thought actually disappeared was just a seeing of what it was, a changing in my view of the quality of it, seeing it as not instructional or the voice of God, as Michael Leal often says quite amusingly, that, just because something's in my head, it is not coming from on high as an instruction, that eating the chocolate wasn't an instruction. A bit more of a relationship with my body and how that felt in terms of hunger and stuff like that, but mostly just, oh, that's the chocolate thought. It's not, I don't have to do it. It just gradually changed. And now sometimes on a Saturday evening, I eat some chocolate. I'm human. I like chocolate. And other times it just doesn't even turn up, because I I've just stopped giving it quite so much energy. And that can be the problem when we're trying to go through some kind of self-improvement technique to try and change a habit, is the focus is on that habit all the time. Whereas what the change for me was, oh, this is thought. It isn't something I actually have to listen to. And I don't have to get into an argy-bargy with it either. Because actually, if you think of chocolate as being habitual or a craving, whatever, those things pass pretty quickly because they're just made of thought, and thought is always passing through. So if you've got a habit, I'd be interested to know about it, and interested to know what you've seen today and what you've heard. Enjoy. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.